Right, Lifessa Lounge episode 8, welcome to the show. So you got me, Ben and Josh this week. Leon, he can't be with us, like he's like having to deal with some offline business. You know how it is when you're trying to build something up with a small team, sometimes you need to make sacrifices. So he'll be back with us next week. So let's just dive straight into it. I was thinking how we could mix up the content that we're giving out at the moment, and I thought, 2016, right? It's been a mad, crazy year. Like you've had, let's just pick with the two big things, right? You've had Brexit and you've had Trump. Not even going to say the voting, just say the word Trump, right? And how that's changed. And so in there, the funny thing is you see the economy, like every time that news comes out, you turn on the TV the next morning, pound drops, dollar drops. The exchange rate is dying, right? And so I'm feeling that it's one of those points in time where it's a good point to, as a reminder to people, like that economic downturns, they will happen whatever. For this, at this point in time, it's about Brexit and it's about Trump. But I don't think that necessarily stops you from, one, being able to progress your career, or two, from starting up a new business. But I think it's important for people to understand that it doesn't define what you're capable of, and it doesn't limit you. It's just another challenge that you've got to address, right?
I think with all economic downturn, there's all the opportunities out there for people that are entrepreneurs or people that want to get into business. There's always opportunities out there because of, as big businesses, as you see with like 2008 when they had an economic recession, as big businesses fall, other small businesses take over and see the gaps in the market, and also the market changes. So there are opportunities out there to take advantage of economic downturns, as they say. I think with Brexit this year, a lot of people are thinking, like a lot of entrepreneurs that were outsourcing to Europe are now thinking, what options out there for me, because of my main market was Europe, and then now it opens up to a wider market where the UK can now turn and say, well, we're facing on a more international scale.
But you know, straight up, there was people. So even coming out of it a couple months, and don't get me wrong, I'm not happy about Brexit. Yeah. I'll just be straight up and clear about that. I'm not happy about it. But for some people, even straight away, exchanges and trade actually work, because all of a sudden, sterling wasn't worth as much. So people would actually trade. So there were opportunities out there. I think the problem is right, with all economic downturns, I think the people who aren't really driven enough weren't going to make it anyway. Yeah. The economy is just a good reason to blame. Yeah. So like Brexit for me, and Trump being voted in, both had the same underlying reason for them, right? You have a lot of people who felt they weren't being heard, and so basically they were just going to vote for whatever it was. You could have said, give me a vote. Is the sky blue or black? Like in the middle of the day, is it blue or pink or whatever, right? They would have just gone, well, clearly the sky's blue, but I'm going to vote pink because I want to be heard, right? Yeah. That was what it was. So for me, I'm like, don't get me wrong, there were some people who gave me some substance of an argument for Brexit. I didn't agree with it, but at least I could hear it out. Some people, they were just like, but what about immigration, and what about all that money we pay to the EU? I sat and spoke to somebody, I spoke to her for like 2 minutes, she's like, why didn't I speak to you before the vote? I'm like, didn't you even Google, didn't you do any research before you did it?
I feel like people didn't actually use their brain, to use their hearts and their emotion and their fear. So a lot of things with like Trump and Brexit, the people that were pro-Brexit and pro-Trump were playing on people's fears. People's fears was that with the globalisation, they're going to lose their jobs, they're going to lose their livelihoods. People in the North of England, people in the South of America, they were worried they're going to lose their jobs in their industries, and they were seeing the industry going out to China, going out to Asia, and they were like, oh my god, I'm losing my jobs, what am I going to do? So they were like, instead of like thinking about what the opportunities were, they were looking at the negative sides of globalisation, and that's why a lot of those people, they were mostly voting fair, and fair is logical.
But you know what? I was just for me that's exactly. But because of that, right? I don't really make it. It doesn't make any difference whether the economy's good or the economy's bad. Clearly, these people are allowing themselves to be purely dictated by everybody else's decisions, right? Whereas the difference is, okay, fine. We're exiting the EU. Actually, I saw an interesting point they were going to put forward yesterday. They're going to put a case forward for individual citizenship to the EU. Yeah. So like you're gonna have a hell of a lot of people now who are like, phew. Like all those people who are thinking, I don't want to be at EU. I joked with somebody before. I was like, can't we just have like London in the EU still? Because all of the money that we're making is coming out of the square mile anyway. Can't we just have that stay in the EU and everybody else just exit?
Yeah, exactly the thing in America with California. California was like saying, our economy is big enough to work on its own. We don't need to be part of America. Can't we just be California and let the rest of America be run by Trump? So yeah, the same mindset. I think people need to start empowering themselves. I think what Brexit highlighted, a lot of people don't want to take account for their own action, their own responsibility. They want other people to take them. So I think that mindset needs to change. But I think also with Brexit, it's a good. I know you don't like me saying it, but it's a good thing because now they've had Brexit. What's next? Who are they going to blame things on? They can't blame things on anyone else.
That's not justifiable for a good. I agree with what you're saying because for me, what I said, I woke up the morning after Brexit and I was like, my good Lord, what has actually happened here? And you go in and what I realized, and I agree with that, because all the people are sitting at home moaning, well, I can't get a job because that person came over from Europe and they've taken my job. Well, do you know what? Sally, sitting on the couch, who are you going to blame now? There's nobody else to blame. I guarantee, we exit the EU, you're still not going to go and get a job because you can't be asked to work, right?
Also, the thing they don't realise is that these people are basing their arguments on things that happened like 50 years ago. 50 years ago, you'd have your granddad or your grandmum would be working in a factory. They'd be working there. The price of like your trainers would be sky high because it only come from one local area, and there were people who have to pay for it now. Now Nike, and I'm not saying it's a good thing, like Nike, Adidas, they got sweatshops in like India and Asia, and they're like making the shoes for like 50p, and they're charging us for £100 for them. But then now, because of all this Brexit and they want to stop globalisation, what's going to happen is that in factories you cannot afford to pay people UK prices an hourly wage and get the goods for the exact same prices. What's going to happen is that as people want to get their jobs back, the prices of goods are going to go up because of it's just normal economic sense that if you're paying people in the UK a living wage, the thing that's going to happen is that the people that the producers are going to pass on the price onto the consumers, and it means your prices of our goods are going to go up.
Yeah, I just can't. Well, to be honest, the people who are stuck in that mindset, when you're stuck in that, when you're talking about factories, let's just be clear. We're not a nation that's booming from the manufacturing or like you were 50 years ago, right? Yeah. So I kind of accepted that people are product their environments, the older generation, they have their mindset. Mm-hmm. I don't agree with it, but I was brought up in a different time. I think my gripe was more with the people who, again, just did it on their emotions. They're like, I just want to be heard. And I'm like, do you really realise the impact of the decision you've just made? And then you've got Theresa May and the rest of it. Yeah, let's just push for Brexit. And I'm like, you're acting like they're coming out and saying this is what the nation voted for. I'm like, I guarantee you did that vote again 24 hours after it, and people would have voted differently. Yeah. There's a reason that Google blew up with, what does Brexit mean the day after we exited? Like, how dumb are we as a group of people? Like, but in fairness, it's the same thing with Trump, right? They saw a bunch of people who were unhappy with certain gripes and thought it was right. And the thing is, the problem with Trump is it's the same with Brexit. Like, there was people were pushing that Cameron took it for granted that everybody would just vote to stay in. Yeah, and the thing with Hillary Clinton as well, like, when we were having a chat about it, and the common consensus is no one was really voting for Hillary Clinton. Even her argument wasn't vote for me, I'm great. The argument was don't vote for him because he's the devil. Yeah. Like, so there was naivety on there. And on both sides, you had the Brexiters who were selling this wonderful story. They were better marketers, basically. And you've got Trump, who's a businessman. Naturally, he was a better marketer, all right? So he sold this. But again, for me, you're completely right about people who've got to empower themselves, because this now presents another excuse for them, whereas it doesn't have to. All it means is, okay, so it may impact what your business opportunity was, but it doesn't stop it. It just means you have to, okay, let me just work out, and it might mean you need to take a pause in time and understand where the market's going to go, because at this moment in time on both pieces, there's uncertainty. They don't know what Trump's going to do with his policies when he comes straight in. Brexit, nobody knows about, because we don't even know him to do it yet, right? Yeah. But in that, it just means, okay, maybe I've got to spend some time to work out what it is. But even then, you can analyse, right, where are the gaps in the market? Where are the opportunities? What about now, if people are worried about stuff, have I got an opportunity to go out there and make a sale in an area that allows people to better manage their money? Is there something as simple as, all right, people are going to be pinching for their cash more, why not set up a website that directs them to voucher codes? There are simple things, right? If you want to make a business work, both of these things are not a stopper. They are just an additional challenge. Yeah,
as I said, there's opportunities, always opportunities. Like, you saw it when the recession happened in 2008, when big retail stores like Woolworths went out of business, and then these smaller retail stores came into their spaces. So Primark grow from the recession. You saw the Poundland shop grow from recession.
Look at Audi.
Look at Audi, look at Lidl. These shops were able to see the market and see where the market was going, and then maneuver their businesses so that they could attract new customers in. And the bigger businesses, the ones that knew are too big to fail, are the ones that failed. We see it all the time when there's big economic recessions. Usually the big companies that are successful, they find it hard to maneuver. But in the smaller companies, it's easy for them to change.
There's more agility.
Yeah, they've got more agility in the market, so it's easy for them to change, easy for them to take advantage of opportunities that are out there. Since 2008, there's been so many new businesses. Okay, Snapchat.
Yeah,
it wasn't around in 2008. Twitter's
Instagram. How it blew up and had 6 months, and how they sold themselves. That was ridiculous.
And you can see businesses taking advantage of it on every day. Like, there's always opportunities out there in recession. And the reason why there's opportunities out there in recession is because of people. A lot of people were made redundant.
Yeah.
A lot of people were made redundant. Their redundancy pay, they went out and stepped into them.
Yeah, straight up. And this is another. But that's a funny thing as well, right? Because there's I can't remember. There was a Les Brown who was talking about before, and he was like, yeah, when he went into a company, and the company offered people this massive payout, and people they were like, but if you don't take it now, you might lose your job anyway.
Yeah.
And he was like, but they stayed in the job. He's like, why would you? They stayed in the job because they were scared they couldn't do anything, right? I'm like, if somebody comes to you tomorrow and offers you this big package, I'll be like, straight up, if you've got the belief in yourself, you can make it. I'm like, cha-ching, let me go out, let me do that, let me start a new business. But people fear the unknown, and at the same time, chance favours the prepared mind, right? So those people are always out there analysing. Like this day and age, you lose your job, you go home. Do you know what? Learn how to build an app. Yeah. Because the world is blowing up with smartphones, right? Learn how to build an app. What do you have in your daily life, which is a pain in the backside, and you thought to yourself, do you know what? I really wish somebody had a fix for that. Fix it! Yeah. Right? Because if you've got the problem, I guarantee you look into the market and other people have got the problem as well, right?
That's why you want to be a problem solver. If you can actually look at things and say, well, in my daily life, what do I want to fix? I can actually come up with an idea and fix it. And it's not only, like, building an app's not as easy as we making that sound, but like, it's also being able to look out and look outside the market and say, who do I need, who can help me achieve my dreams? Who can help me achieve my plans that I want to build? So if you can't build an app, but you know someone that you can go out to the marketplace and find someone that a programmer or web developer and say, can we work together in coalition and build that together? And that's how a lot of businesses start. A lot of businesses start when someone has the idea, but someone else, they can't actually implement it, and someone else has implementation, but they haven't got the idea, and they come together and they build the idea. And
it's about the networking and building a thing, right? Yeah. So we touched on the team before, and it's exactly that, right? And this is why, and it hits again on topics that we said before, like, don't try to be. I mean, I'm not going to go and learn how to build an app, but at the same time, that doesn't stop me from building an app. No, it doesn't. Because and to be honest, building an app isn't as cheap as they make it sound. Yeah. It can be substantially expensive. But if you've got 5-6K sitting around, you can probably outsource that to somebody. Like the amount of, when you talk about sweatshops in out in Africa and everywhere else in China and the rest of the world, do you know what? When you start to look out there from computing wise, when you start to look out to different places in the world, you can get people who you will pay 50 times more over here than what you can pay for other places.
Alright, so you're saying about the money, right? So what happened? We had the Conservatives coming, they had the Tories coming to power, and what they're focused on is really on small businesses, and they started up this UK startup fund. Mm-hmm. So that if you have a great idea, they're giving you startup loans for like 5 to 10 to 25k at really low rates. All you need is a great business plan, and a lot of times these startup loans, they give you mentors, so you haven't actually got the excuse. If you've got the idea and you want to go out there, you just look out the market and say and look. Google's your friend. There's UK startups. Now look, there's UK startups. Google's your friend. All you have to do is go startups, and you'll see that so many startup funds are out there. Yeah. There's so many funding ideas. There's funding circles. There's so many. So the financial side of it, there's no excuses.
But financial side, but Google's a perfect example, right? Resource.
Yeah.
Do you actually know how to use a resource? Do you know the dumbest thing that I used to see? Right, someone would go on Facebook and ask their Facebook friends, like they would be like, do you know a plumber in the area? I'm like, type the same answer into Google and you get an answer in a second, rather than waiting 10 hours for people. Because they're not using the resources that are in front of them, right? And this day and age, it used to be, okay, go on and get educated. All right, how do I get into university? Then it was, actually, I don't need to go to university. Let me go and take a book out of the library. Now it's gone from, I don't need to go to a book in the library. Actually, I don't even need to pay for a course anymore. Let me go online, I'll find YouTube.
YouTube's got so many videos. Like, so I started with my videography and photography, and I wanted to learn to do stuff. So I went on YouTube. I literally just went on YouTube, typed it in, beginner courses on photography. There's so many videos out there. I always, when it comes to Facebook and people asking questions, I always pay attention. It's more about, can you help me? Someone talk to me, please. Because realistically, if I want something, I go on Google. Google's my friend. Or Siri's your friend. You've got a smartphone. What you do is bring your phone out and go, okay, Siri, can you tell me where a plumber is? It's easy. It's so quick. You don't need to, like, the great thing about now is that there's opportunities are flattened. It's like the market is flattened. It's like barriers to entry have come right down. You've got YouTube, you've got Facebook, you've got Twitter, Instagram. There's so many ways of reaching your audience that weren't there before. Yeah. Before we'd have to go through not Yale.com.
Yellow Pages. When we used to get the old BT ones.
If you wanted to find something, you go through the BT page with Yellow Pages. But now it's so easy. If you want to find something, you just go on Google, type it in. If you want to meet people, meeting people, networking, right?
Yeah.
There's so many apps out. There's so many sites out there. Like, for example, there's meetups. If you want to go meet some people and you want to network people, you don't. In Facebook, there's like groups out there where you just meet people and go to like shows and meet people that have, or go to conferences where people are like-minded people with you and you can meet them.
Yeah, but do you remember how we were talking? So on the Lifessa Light video that we did last week on social media and how your smartphone is a blessing.
Yeah.
Like check it out if you haven't checked it already. Little jab there. So when we were talking about that, this is and it goes again. Use the resources in front of you. I'm like, when somebody said, "Oh yeah, there's kids nowadays," I feel so sorry. I do not understand. Like, if you had given me these platforms when I was younger, if I knew what I know now and had those platforms when I was younger, boy, life could have been so different.
Yeah.
I'm not hating on it.
Yeah.
Like, but I'm not going to feel sorry for people. But this is the thing: they're not they're not using their resources. They're not thinking smart, and this is why, at the end of the day, the economy is not stopping you. If that's what you're using as an excuse right now, you don't even need to watch the rest of this. You need to stop this, pause it. Don't cut it off. I want you to continue watching. You stop this, pause it, go to the mirror, look into that mirror and say, right, what is it that's actually holding me back? Because the economy is not what's holding you back, right? It's a challenge, it's a hurdle. It might have thrown a curveball that you weren't expecting. But if you look at that curveball coming, you can hit that out of the park if you can analyse and find the right gaps in the market.
Exactly. But it's also understanding that things are changing. You can actually drive the market. You don't have to wait for the market to drive you. You can actually offer things to the market that doesn't actually know it really doesn't exist. Like Snapchat, we didn't know we needed it. No one knew that. Like when I went, for real. When I first got Snapchat, I thought Snapchat was sending nudes. It was like someone would send me a picture and like 15 seconds it was gone. And who would know that Snapchat now you can actually get your product on Snapchat. People will see what you're selling. People will see like you let some people inside how your business works, and it builds a rapport with people. And I didn't know when it first came out that Snapchat would be the monster it is today.
But it's branding, right?
Yeah.
But the reason it's the monster that it is because the people who understand it and get it, you utilise it to the max, right? And the people who don't are probably the ones that are just there sending the news and doing stupid shit. But the people who get it, no, it's all about building your brand. And they understand the importance of, you're not using Snapchat to sell on there, right? It's not like a Twitter where you can put a link on there and someone clicks it and makes a sale, right? It's another way for you to build up a brand of yourself.
It's create self-awareness.
And this
awareness.
And this is when it comes back to, again, resources and using your platform. So when you start to say, well, this is the kind of person I am, we've gone from a world where you don't actually have to say what kind of person you are or tell people what your business is verbally to convince them.
Yeah.
You flip it over now. Now you can show them in video on a daily basis. You can put that on your Periscopes, on your Snapchats, on your Facebook Live. Look, this is what my business is doing on a day-to-day basis. You know that sales pitch I used to give you all those words where you got bored halfway through? I don't need any of that anymore. You could just follow me for a couple of days. You'll see what I'm doing. And it's all about building that personal brand. Now, it's no good if you say I am person A and you act like person C on your Snapchat. So it's key that whatever you're working on, you need to be congruent with what you're saying. But again, using those resources and using all of those platforms, and you're right, it's never been easier to enter into a market. And there are your business in the way that you scale it. There could be some businesses that you start from home and completely online, and there could be bricks and mortar businesses which you actually need to set up, which have more in the way of capital investment, right? But still, the opportunities out there, the ability to go and get these new loans, right?
Yeah.
It's are you going to sit there and say, oh man, Brexit, the world's over. Like, don't get me wrong, again, like I say, I'm not happy about it. It annoys the hell out of me that we did it, but at the same time, I didn't sit there and think, well, I kind of thought maybe I should think about looking for a better haven to live than UK. But again, that's somebody adapting, right? That's saying I'm not going to be beaten and defeated by this. I'm going to look for a way around it, right? So I just think I don't like the fact that people turn around and were like, well, what am I going to do now? I'm like, you know what? If we had stayed in the EU, I guarantee you would be making the same complaints as you were now that we're leaving. It would just be on a different excuse. Oh, we're staying in the EU, but now the sterling is still not enough for me. I don't know how to start my own, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, so basically what we're trying to say is that if you think that economy is going to stop you from doing things, the best thing to do is change your mindset. The economy won't change anything. So the economy is made to go through booms, bust recoveries, it's up and down. It's basic economics. That businesses, economy goes up, goes down, and it booms, it busts, it happens. But what you can change and what you can take control of is your mindset.
Yeah,
you take control of your mindset and take responsibility for your own actions, and then you can then maneuver the bad and good times. So when the good times, you take advantage of the good times, and when the bad times, you preempt them and take advantage of and look for opportunities in the bad times. And that's how you empower yourself. And it's not only online stuff as well. You can do offline stuff. You're talking about like Gary Vee going out to car boot sales and building that.
Well, it's just, but that's straight up just hustle, right? And for some of you, and we take it granted that people always know what we're talking about. Like so Gary Vaynerchuk, if you haven't checked him out, he's got a daily hustle email that comes out. Check him out online. Like the guy is the truth. Mm. Like seriously, he's not trying to sell you no pitch. He's giving you practical ways to go out there. He's not talking about hustle from a motivational point of view. Yeah. He's doing it. And I think when he said before, he's like, when people were always asking the question, give me the answers. And he's like, are you dumb? If you're watching me on a daily basis, I'm giving you the answers. But yeah, he talks about, right, every so often he'll still go out and do his boot sales because he grew up, that's how he kind of started, right? And he's like, right, go to a boot sale, find some cheap stuff, go and sell it on eBay, and you know what? That has even become easier than it ever was. I can now get apps on my phone where I could go to a boot sale or I can go to a charity shop, and whilst I'm in the charity shop, when I go to the bookstores, I can scan the barcodes and I can find out how much they sell online. I can actually do my market research while standing in front of the product, right? So it's gone past the days where I even have to take a chance. I can now go and see something that cost me £2, but I can resell for £6. And then someone's going to be sitting there like, oh, why would I do that for £4? Flip it, times it by 10, do that 5 days a week. You've got yourself an extra £1,000, £2,000 a month, right?
Also, a lot of people don't see things that are right in front of their faces. So we said eBay, right? Facebook have got Facebook Marketplace. It's a new thing. I don't see a lot of people utilising it, but it's got Facebook Marketplace where you see people selling their stuff on Facebook Marketplace, and it's quick and easy. And the reason why it's great because if you've got like a lot of friends, you see your friends selling stuff, you can sell things to your friends really easily. Yeah. You know, and they can see stuff that you put on the marketplace, and Facebook's got more users than eBay. So marketplace. If you go into a charity shop and you find stuff, you scan it in, put it straight on Facebook. Before you get home, someone put a bid for it.
Well, you got that app, that Spock app, where you can sell stuff in your immediate vicinity. So, and this is why again I'm sitting there and I'm like, guys, if you're saying there are no opportunities to make money, what are you doing? Do you come home at night, get your sandbox out, stick your head in it until you go to work the next day, and assume that what you're doing for your 9 to 5 is the only thing you can do?
I haven't got time. I haven't got time to go out and go in charity shops.
Yeah, you know my feeling like that.
I haven't got time. I come home, I want to just chill out. I work a long day and I want to be going out on Sunday mornings and
But that's the same thing, right? Again, people are like, I don't have to... Do you know what annoys the hell out of me when it comes to people who are saying, oh, I haven't got time? They are the same people who... Social media melts down when The Walking Dead comes out, man. I'm like, you haven't got time, but you've got time to make time for a program every week. And I ain't hating against you. I don't care. I don't care what you do with your life. At the same time, if you want to watch films and stuff and TV and commit your life to it, I don't care. I'm cool with that. But be congruent. Don't say, I don't have any time on this side, and then say, oh, look, just allocated my whole afternoon to football, just allocated my whole afternoon to TV. You know me, I'm a football fan. Yeah. I like my sports, right? don't get me wrong, I remember I watched The Wire before, right? And I don't even watch TV programs anymore because The Wire scared me. What it was is, I watched it, my brother-in-law was like, yeah, you should watch it, it's really good TV. So I watched the first episode, it's at 11 o'clock at night. By 3 o'clock in the morning, I watched 4 episodes. He's like, you can borrow the box set if you want. I was going to work, I was coming home, I was basically watching. I mean, the only good thing was, I cleared it out in about 3 weeks, right? But now, I don't watch TV programs. So everybody's like, why don't you watch this program? It's really good. I'm like, I can't. I said, I've got an addictive personality and a compulsive personality. So when I apply myself to things like work, I'm fully in on them. Now, I can't take the risk that I might watch a TV program that might be good and I don't have to watch it. So I like straight scrap that out. That's a choice and a sacrifice that I made. And again, it's the allocation of your time and prioritization, right? And the economy has nothing to do with that. No. Like, as I say, if you weren't using your time before, what's going on in the economy hasn't made any difference. Actually, if you were using your time before, you understand, really, if there's a downturn, it's even more important that you prioritise and you cut out that insignificant nonsense.
No, the funny thing is that when economic downturn does happen, people still go out and buy Jordans, people still go out and buy TVs, people still go out and buy PlayStations. So it's priorities as well. People say that I haven't got money. You have got money, but you're not prioritising in the right places. So people are saying, oh, I'm recession, I don't want to put money into business, but I want to go and buy a new extension for my house, or I want to do my kitchen up and stuff like that. It's priorities. It's all about priorities. It's also about understanding and taking advantage of opportunities, but it's also prioritising your money. So instead of saying I'm going to spend £500 on a new TV, why don't you use £500 and invest in yourself? Or instead of spending that money on a brand new blazer or suit or dress, why don't you use that money to invest in yourself and go out to the charity shop and sell stuff? Or why don't you go and set something up that you want to build and sell? So it's prioritising. Because that excuse about I haven't got the money, because people always buy stuff when in the recession because they want to make themselves feel good. They spend their money on things that make them feel good.
Yeah, there was a good picture the other day. Did you see the picture that was put up and it had Mark Zuckerberg and it had Bill Gates in one picture, and they were like, however many billions, but no Gucci in there.
Yeah.
And it's like, because you get people who they fully understand. And me personally, and I know different people who have different views on it. Like when it comes to fashion and stuff, don't get me wrong, I like to look good, but I don't go out and spend £200 on a belt or a pair of jeans. I don't need to. To be honest, I don't care if you don't like the sign that's on the back of my jeans. Is insignificant to me, because if I don't spend that money there, then I can invest it in something else. I might invest it in something that we're using to build up the site. We might invest it in some of the kit that we're using for the podcast or video or things that we're going to use for business going forwards. That will pay back in a tangible result. I will use it on things like buying. I've got people who are spending money every week on new clothes, right? I don't buy books.
Yeah.
They're like, I haven't got time to learn. What, you can't, why have you not got time to read books? I can't fit it in. I don't understand how you get through books so much. Do you know what? I read fast. But if you don't read fast, Audible. Why don't you download it?
I had issues because I read slower than Ben does. Ben reads a book in he read the book 3 days.
Man, if I could read faster though, that would be one of those super skills.
he reads really fast. I can't read as fast. So what I started to do, I started to use audiobooks. The audiobooks are great because you can read it on the go. I read it when I'm on the train, when I'm in the gym. If I'm walking around, not doing anything, if I'm just also the thing with audiobooks, you can actually passively learn, where you're just on the train and someone's telling you something, you're just locked in for that half an hour, you're just on the train listening, and you don't have to be and you can do other things at the same time whilst you're listening to someone explain something to you. So
see, you mix and match on that. See, I'm not as good at when I'm working on stuff, because I'm really focused on that. I can't really have something in my ear. I find it quite difficult to even listen to podcasts when I'm working, only because I don't like to split my attention. I like to be solely focused. But then again, when I'm at the gym or when I'm going for a run, it's bad, right? I tell you, the worst one that is do it for is podcasts. I know we keep up on regular podcasts, but when I'm listening to the Brilliant Idiots, so I'm running along, and again, that's another podcast. If you haven't checked it out, Andrew Schultz and Charlamagne, on a weekly basis, they are brilliant. Whether they want to consider themselves idiots or not, definitely worth a watch. But the thing is, I'll be running down the road and I'm listening to it, and they'll say some stupidness. But the thing is, I'll laugh. So I think to myself, and I always register when I'm laughing, because I'm thinking to myself, as I'm running down the road, I wonder how that just looked to other people. But I can condense that on my runs. I can read books on my runs. I think I downloaded The Alchemist. Because I hadn't read, everybody goes on about it. I knew the underlying premise of it, but I hadn't actually read it before. So I downloaded it a few weeks ago. I listened to it I was done with it in a day. Because I spend 2.5 hours running.
It's a really easy read.
And it was people have a lot of a go at it, man. Like
it's really easy to read. The premises is very easy. It's just starting your journey and being aware of science. So it's really easy to read. It's not the hardest read in the world. It's the same thing in The Secret. They're all easy reads.
But the thing is, so somebody went against that. I looked at some of the reviews on Amazon, and they were like, "But it's the same stuff talking about." Yeah, but as we went through last week, it's not complex. Any of this stuff, right? The time management. So I love it when going back to when people said there's no time. I'm like, but you just don't have time. Sorry, you're acting like you used to have more time, and now you've had less. Like, did you used to have more than 24 hours? Because for as far as I know, from the day I was born to today, I've only ever had 24 hours a day. And the difference between me and the greats of the world, they still only have 24 hours in their day. It's just how you use it. So again, that is a real fall for me. I'm like, you might have other things going on that you didn't used to, but then you prioritize. Don't act as though your bank has been restricted. Like, that's not the way life works.
I think the whole thing, like in whole, when we're doing this economic thing, it's like we've said, there's opportunities out there. Like it's mindset. You have to take responsibility for your own actions. You have to do it because also like there's Google is your friend. Like Google is your friend. YouTube is your friend.
Or technology
is your
just
friend.
Straight up, it's your friend.
Your phone is your friend.
Yeah, all of it.
Go back and watch that video on YouTube. Smartphones and taking advantage of it. Watch it.
You definitely be going into more detail.
There's no reason for you to ever say economic downturn. I can't be successful in economic downturn. You can.
And you're right, and that is the underlying purpose of us talking this. This is why I wanted to talk on this topic, because I was like, do you know what? There's so much going on in 2016, and you will get those people who want to stop. But you are completely right. It does go down to that mindset. Are you ready to do the? Because I remember, I think Eric Thomas is like, everybody wants to be a beast, and until it comes to doing what beasts do, right? Yeah. And he's like, I think he was talking. He's like, yeah, I've got all these people coming. They're like lions, and I'm like beast mode, and the rest of it. And they talk great, and on their Twitter, they're like hustle, 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 and then they're like. But Sunday afternoon comes, I was just watching sport. And this is why I'm like, your actions, and this is, again, when it comes to using those platforms to build your brand, understand that that's a huge opportunity for you. Nowadays, people don't have to see your CV to understand what you're about. You can show them what you're about on all of these different platforms. But please, please, please make sure that what you're doing and what you're saying is congruent with your actions, because if it's not, you lose your integrity. It's gone.
You lose your credibility. People don't start taking you seriously. If I'm saying someone go out there hustle, 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 and I'm on a Saturday night and I'm sitting there watching X Factor and they're hustling and I'm like hustle, hustle, hustle. Like
I've got something funny. Yes, I've got one girl and every week she'll come in and she'll be like, yeah, did you watch this on the X Factor? I think she's now desensitized around it. When she comes to me, she's like, you need to start getting into all these, to know about this celebrity stuff. I'm like, I don't have time for it. But what do you do? And people get annoyed because they're like, you spend all your time working. I'm like, it's not that I spend all of my time working, right? Like, if somebody asks me for my time, and this goes back to when I said about people calling you out of the blue, don't interrupt my day to fit with your schedule. Just don't do it. Right. Okay, right? But if you say, Ben, can we go out? I'd like to spend some time with you. I'm like, cool. I'll rearrange stuff around there. But when you're saying all I'm doing is working, right? Let's just be clear. When I get home, there's a choice that I've got here. I want to make something happen. I can go and work on that. Yeah. Or I can come back and say, so tired, man. Let me just sit on the sofa and watch TV, and 4 hours later, look, let me go to bed now. Do you know what? If I have nights where I get nothing done, I'm super pissed in the morning. Like, I am vexed that I got nothing done. Like, so I don't let that happen. So it's not about that I'm working all the time. And to be honest, because I enjoy what I'm working on, it feels less like work, but that's why you need to find something that you've got when you're going out there. So if you're sitting there now and now having a realization, actually, what can I do? What can I look at as a gap in the market? I would say to you, yes, look at opportunities to make something that's successful, but make sure it's something that you can relate to and that you enjoy. Like, you don't have to love every second of it. There are going to be hard and tough times. But if you don't have an underlying enjoyment for it, then when those tough times hit, you quit, right? And that's what gets you through it. Actually, I still enjoy doing this, so I can get through it. So you start a business now, we make it through Brexit. 8 years later, Trump is gone. There's going to be something else that happens in the meantime. Yeah. There's going to be something else that happens after that, right?
You have to learn to jump hurdles. You have to be able to like jump hurdles or avoid hurdles or go around hurdles. You have to learn to manoeuvre opportunities and learn to manoeuvre pitfalls.
And it's that, right? Being able to analyse what's going on in the market. And when we said the market wins out, right? Because what's going on in the market will dictate where your business lies. And at the same time, this is that moment in time where you say, actually, there's some uncertainty. So let me set some time apart to say, I'm going to look into detail of where the potential opportunities are, because it's like when we spoke about Steve Jobs before. He offered people something that they didn't know that they wanted. Yeah. But you could sit down right now and say, right, there's so much uncertainty. I am going to make a prediction, and I really believe in it because I've spent my time and I believe I can make this happen. Like, I'm going to make a prediction that people are going to want this, because that's what you got with us. That's what you get with the Instagrams and the Snapchats, right? They didn't just start. I mean, a lot of these apps, they just kind of start for fun, but somewhere in there, somebody's doing it because they understand the ability for this to blow up, right? That's because they've looked at it and said, actually, do you know what? I'm going to bet the farm on people. This is going to blow up because I can see that gap. Nobody else seems to be leveraging that. I hear people, and again, when it goes back to listen to your audience, people moan on Twitter. Spend time on Twitter, on social media, going into blogs. You don't even need to send out those questionnaires anymore, right? You just need to allocate the time out to do your research. People are telling you everything that they want answers to, and it's all there, readily available to you.
I also think, like, when you start, right, like we're saying, if you're taking advantage of opportunity right now, you start with something small. Like, take for example, Amazon. Amazon started off selling books. Now Amazon's probably the biggest retailer. Now one of the biggest retailers out there. They started off selling books, and now they sell films. They have Amazon Go. Amazon Go. That's a neck that's coming along. So Amazon Go is the supermarkets. So now you can go.
You
go into the supermarket. They scan your phone, then you pick something off the aisle. It goes onto your phone and says that you've picked it up. So you don't have to actually go through the checkout no more. It just takes it. So when you walk out with the items you've got, because it can with GPS tracking and all that, technology.
But you know what? This is the same thing as when they try to introduce drones, right? It's another excuse. It's the same. It's an economic change forced by it's technology that's changing the way that business works, right? So when it was, we're going to try and use drones to deliver stuff. Oh, but then there's going to be less jobs for people. And when you do this, but why are you going to need so many people working in supermarkets if you've got that, right? My view is, if you are good, you will always find work. Yeah. This is why when it comes to downsizing businesses, I'm like, if you're worried about the downside, that probably means you're not good enough, right? Either you know that you're going to be retained within that company that you're in because you know you're just that hot, or you're not fussed because you're like, do you know what? I'm that good that I know I can go and get a job in a different place.
Adapt. You have to be able to adapt. If you're working in a supermarket and you fear that Amazon goes and make you lose your jobs, you can adapt. There's other way. For someone that's working on the checkouts and you might lose your job, you can adapt and go somewhere else where you can take your skills that you've got from working on the checkout, your like daily interpersonal skills, and take it somewhere else where it might be suited, where the supermarkets are changing.
Do you know what though? I would actually argue that if you're in one of those roles, and this is a point in time, but this is a great point in time for you to make that decision to say, actually, do you know what? I'm not going to wait for it to go wrong for me. I'm going to adapt and I'm going to learn and I'm going to exploit it and find another business opportunity. And the reason why I say it's a great opportunity for people like that, when you have a standard set-hour job, so an 8 to a 4, a 9 to a 5, right? Yeah. Which is paying you enough for you to get by, but at the same time is only utilising so much of your time. You're in a perfect position because you know you can work your ass off in the morning up until 9 o'clock. You can do your job there. I'm sure, and especially again when you've got your phone, your lunch break, you can tap into going on the internet and doing research. You can download books you can do whether you want to do it on Audible or you want to get an ebook on there. You've got so many accesses to free ebooks now. It's crazy in itself, right? And then after 5, you can work madly to work on your side hustle, right? Work on your side hustle until it becomes your primary hustle. But again, this is a point in time. Who's going to be the person who's going to sit there and go, I see this is coming for me. I see an opportunity where actually, I'm not going to be fussed about it putting something in that might replace this. How can I get ahead of the game? In fact, you know more because you're starting to worry about it, but you think to yourself, well, hold on. How can I, with my experience of working in a shop and a checkout or any kind of shop that may be impacted by the Amazon thing, right, how can I use my knowledge on that to then exploit something that might be on that platform? Yeah. And it's straight up. And again, it's about adapting. It's about that. Have you got the foresight to look ahead? Have you got the ambition? Have you got the ambition and drive?
No, I don't. I just want to be like 9 to 5 and and go home and sleep. I don't know, ambition.
You make me laugh. Sometimes when you just say into that space where you just answer, I'm like, you say it so authentically.
It's like, nah, I don't, Ben. I don't know what I'm doing here. I just want to be.
But you know how you say that, right? The thing is, you never get the answer from the people who are actually like that. You don't get that answer.
No.
They won't admit that that is the case. They will sell you 500 excuses.
Yeah.
So the bottom line is, you just need to just stop making those excuses. Answer truthfully like that. When somebody says it to you, you answer truthfully and you say, actually, no, do you know what? You've caught me.
Yeah.
I've got no excuse. I've got the time. I've got access to the resources. I've got my phone and I've got the internet. I can use my time to access those resources. Actually, I know there's something I need to learn. I can go online and find access to that. I can download that book. You're right, Ben and Josh. I can listen to it on the way to work on Audible.
Don't you feel like sometimes you hear people talk like that, you just read that ET and start shouting at them and going,
I do shout at people.
you just like shake them, like, what's wrong with you? But yeah, people have to be honest with themselves. Are they ambitious? Can they, look, being comfortable, there's no greatness in comfortable. You have to step out your comfort zone to be great. So you have to stop, like, get off your sofa, get out of bed, and work.
And this is, and again, this is the thing. If you're comfortable with where you are, then you're cool, right? And I've got nothing against anybody who's happy to live in kind of, I don't know, 20 to 40k a year, 46k, wherever you are at.
Yeah.
I'm not really fussed. If you are happy with the life that you've got and you're not complaining about it, you're cool, right?
Yeah.
Because we only go on this journey once. If there's anything you need to make out of your life, it's to be happy with it.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying, and I think that the thing is, at this moment in time, it's kind of, people are on a buzz and a hype, like you need to be an entrepreneur. And I'm not saying that you do need to be an entrepreneur, right? Because for some people it works, for some people it doesn't. And do you know what? I'm to a degree, I don't even really like everybody having to be coined as an entrepreneur. If you've got a business you want to start up, then do that and call yourself whatever that business is.
It's not even being an entrepreneur, you can be an investor. If you want to work 9 to 5.
And it's following your passion, right? And that's so, and make sure that you've got, and in your 9 to 5, if you enjoy that job.
If you want to be a 9 to 5 and you want to like maneuver economic downturn and stuff, learn to be an investor. Learn to take that little bit extra cash that you have and turn it, invest something else, or do what we said, go to charity shops, go to other shops and buy stuff that might be your passion. Your passion might be buying miniature cars. Buy miniature cars, sell miniature cars. If you're collecting stuff, you buy them and sell them.
And it's crazy how the smaller, the hobbies that before could only be hobbies, you couldn't monetize them.
Yeah.
You can monetize anything. You've got gamers who make money gaming. You've got people who start on Twitter and they go on podcasts and YouTube and get TV shows because they blow up. Like they started when they were 15. By the time they're 22, 23, they've actually become celebrities. I'm like, it's become so, and all it is they might base their YouTube video on something that is so specific to a niche, and there's actually a big market of people out there, but they've spent enough time, they've built up their knowledge over the years, they're like, you know what, let me take my hobby online because I can monetize it. I'm like, there's just, look at the skills that you have, the hobbies you've got, and it's so simple for you to gain access to an audience now that you cannot afford to sit around with excuses.
Guys, the time is now. You don't want to be 60 years old, 70 years old, being a deathbed thinking, I could have done this, I could have done that. Don't say, I'm waiting for the Brexit to happen, I'm waiting to see what Trump does. The time is now. Time is to go out today, right now, this minute, and look yourself in the mirror and say, what do I want to do? Time is now. You don't wait for tomorrow. Tomorrow's not promised. You don't wait for Brexit to happen after and see what happens to Brexit. Take advantage of it now, because when you're on your deathbed, I guarantee you, the things you don't look back and go and say, oh, the opportunities were out there, I didn't take it.
But the thing is, everybody always talks about, when you look back, it's not the failures that you regret, it's the things that you didn't do, because you can't take that back. And you're completely right. And the thing is, the reason why it's so crazy, and again, I think I was on an ET one before, and he's obviously older than me, but he's talking to, I think he's like 40 or something now, 45, and he was talking to a bunch of kids, and he's like, because you wake up, one day you're 18, and before you know it, you're 25. And I'm like, the older you get, the faster time goes. Like when you're young and in school, time just drags because you can't wait to get to the next summer holiday, right? When you turn 18, before you know it, you're 21. Then before you know it, you're 25. Before you know it, you've turned 30. I turned 30 in September, right? Now, I feel like, I mean, to be fair, I said to somebody, I've been old since I was young, so it hasn't made no difference to me, right? But the thing is, when you look back, and I say the same thing to everybody, I'm like, it's been mad crazy how fast this year has gone. Like, but they go faster and faster. That's why if you keep putting off to tomorrow becomes next week becomes next month, a year has passed. And the thing is, and just take a second in time to think about this right now, if you started acting today, where could you be in a year from now? And then think, right, this is what I want to do now. Now, take a different view on that. Okay. Look at where you are now. Imagine you started doing that a year ago. How much of a different position would you be in? And that's the point of reflection where you go, do you know what? If I started doing this 365 days ago, I could be so far ahead of where I am now. Don't get to a point in time where you get to next year, because next year you'll be looking at it going, not where could I have been if I started a year ago, where could I have been if I started 2 years ago? And you know what? That's almost pushing yourself into, that's almost asking for depression. Like, because imagine, I can't think of anything worse than regret. I don't mind if I work my ass off and I fail at something, right? I don't mind that. But what will kill me is if I look back and think, do you know what? I actually didn't put the work in. Like, and now I've delayed my ability to succeed because I didn't want to put the work in. So just I don't think that, I think it's completely the worst thing, and I can't think of anything worse than when you get to your 60s, right? Because that is not your life gone. Don't get me wrong, you've still got 20 years. And the thing is, but the bottom line is, even for older generations, there's nothing stopping you from, at this point in time, because the entry barriers are so low. There's nothing stopping you. You could be 18, you could be 21. If you're 18, then you're in a great position, right? First off, you've got some years ahead of you to build up that experience to make things work. But you've got so much time. It's just crazy for us, even so much time. But even if you're 35, you're 40, you're 50, you're 60, there's no too late. There's no too late to start something.
When you're 60, you've got experience, something that 18-year-old won't have. So you've got that advantage over them. So there is no barrier to entry regardless of age.
And this is straight up, and that exact point. No barriers to entry regardless of age. No barriers to entry because of the economy. So for whatever your feelings about it are, I've made it clear. Both of the decisions in my mind, and I think I speak for quite a lot of the UK and the world, went the wrong way. I don't think we should have Brexited. I'm damn sure I don't think we should have voted in Donald Trump. But it is what it is, right? It's not like I woke up over those days. Both days when I woke up in the morning, I was like, wow, I can't really believe that happened. But then part of my mind for actually knowing how the world works and the people in it, I kind of shouldn't be so surprised by this. But neither of those did I turn around and think, nah, game over, I've got to stop. So I think the takeaway has to be from this is economies will change, challenges will hit, there will be upturns and downturns. Look at them as opportunities. Look at them as, where can I see a gap that I can plug now? And don't look at them as just another excuse. And if you're looking at them as an excuse, you're probably just adding that to a long list of excuses you've already got. So it's like, and it is just going back to that underlying principle of, it's about your mindset, it's about your ambition, it's about your drive. Focus on being driven. And again, if you're comfortable where you are, you're cool. But if you want to be a success, don't sit there complaining about it. Get up, go and do something about it right now. So
I think
that is what it is. I think it's been a good show. Leon will be back with us next week. So as ever, guys, we're here to help you develop. If you like what we're doing, then hit us up and let us know. We love to hear from you. If you don't like what we're doing, hit us up and let us know. Like, I'm happy to take that on board. If there's anything else that you want to hear about, that you would like us to follow up on, hit us up on the Facebook, hit us up on any of the channels. And as always, and even more appropriate now in this episode than any of the other ones, life's only as good as your mindset. We'll catch you on the next show.
Peace.